The dawn of civilization. Primitive. Dangerous. Exciting. The handwriting is on the wall. If the human race is ever going to amount to anything, it needs
the most civilized caveman I have ever seen.
Look who's come out of his cave.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. This is James from Cave Dweller Music. I'm here with my co-host Brendan. We have a special guest for you today. It is Paul Gillis from Rabid Beast, Drug Honkey, Morgue Supplier, and a bunch of other killer projects. Thanks so much for taking the time and coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate that. Yep, you got it about right there. It's Paul Gillis, and Morgue Supplier. Rabid Beast, Drug Honkey, Kill You is one of my electronic ones. There's a bunch there, but yeah, you nailed it.
Awesome. Well, before we get started with anything else, we just wanted to thank you for contributing a track to our charity sampler, Violence Against Violence, that came out last week. If anyone hasn't heard of that yet, it is a charity sampler that is completely grindcore and power violence based. All proceeds go to Doctors Without Borders, and that will be on sale right through until into the first week of March. So definitely pick up a copy. It's only $7 and you'll get 44 tracks, including a killer opener from Morgue Supplier equipped to obliterate. Thanks again. Really appreciate you contributing to that one.
No problem whatsoever. Thanks for having me. For us.
Brendan, I know that this is an interview you've been excited about for a while because you are a Drug Honkey fan, so I'll let you ask some of those questions you had prepared earlier.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, Drug Honkey came about. How did that all start out for you? Was it
Drug Honkey?
Like an adaptation from another project, or?
Yeah. The way Drug Honkey came about was before Drug Honkey. But we're talking back 92, 93. I was in a band called Crematorium, and it was kind of my first real band. Death metal / thrash, a little bit of thrash in there. And when that dissolved, I started a couple years later. I started a band called Chronicologic, and it was very just kind of whatever, very super open influence. And then that morphed into Drug Honkey. So around 99 is when it actually became the name Drug Honkey, and went off from there.
Hell yeah! And then with when you were making that album, you had the saxophonist come on to there. Is that something that you were like a friend of yours, or something that just kind of fell into place?
For the most recent album, from Cloak of Skies. We basically, I knew Bruce. His name is Bruce Lamont. He's the guy who did the sax on the title track on there, and he I know him from the local scene. He's been around for a while. He's in another band called Yakuza. He's been in Corrections House, some different bands over the years that have kind of made a name for himself. And he's kind of like, an avant-garde kind of dude, and Drug Honkey definitely likes to go that route sometimes. So I remember our guitarist mentioned to me, he's like, what about having Bruce on a track? And then I just thought about it. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And we just had him just do his thing over what we already had done. And it worked out perfect. And we just went from there.
Nice. Yeah, no, that track came out amazing for sure. Like the whole album is super heavy and psychedelic and just thick, full of atmosphere, and just, yeah, it's awesome. It's one of my favorites. It's really great.
Yeah. Killer album.
That. Thank you so much.
That's
great to hear.
No worries. I was actually listening to it right before we started recording. I was like, I messaged Brendan. I was like, damn, every time I hear this album, it's like there's more stuff that I pick up from the mix. There's so many things just kind of buried in the sound there. It's awesome.
Yeah. No,
definitely. That's always cool to hear people say that, because I'm super detail oriented, and so when I'm mixing something or just creating something, I'm always just adding so many little things. And so when people pick up on those, it's definitely rewarding, because I'm putting that in there to be found.
Yeah. It's definitely sweet. I like, there's a few of them that just like the longer tracks you have on there, like Oblivion of an opiate nod. And then I feel like was a Outlet of Hatred had like getting into there with like, it just there's a lot going on in there. It's like great. It's also like super kind of jazzy, which I really like. You know, it's almost kind of like you just, you know, really cool.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, you know, we just it kind of just happens as it goes, but yeah, that we like being kind of fucked up and we having weird stuff going on in there. Just kind of part of
yeah,
sound.
no, it's definitely wild. Who did the cover for that?
That was Italian artist Paolo Girardi. Yeah, he's done, you know, tons of stuff. I'm sure you've heard of him at this point, you know. But yeah, he's really good. You know, at least certain things he does I like a lot. And at the time, I think probably like maybe it was because the album came out in 2017, so maybe it was around probably like late 15 or early 16. I had seen some of his other work already, and I kind of was interested in using him. So I contacted him, and he was interested in. He wanted to hear some of our older material, so I sent it his way, and he was interested. And then I actually sent him some of the mixes for the album at that point in time, and that helped him work on creating the album by listening to it. So I thought that was a cool experience. That, you know,
that's sweet.
Yeah, I worked on it while listening to some degree. So yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's
I was going to say,
like
it visually matches the audio like a lot.
For sure. There's just so much going on in there. It's just like, damn, it's fucking cool.
Yeah. No, that's cool to hear you say that about it matching, because I definitely kind of pay attention to those things, or at least a lot of the time. And one of the things on the cover was it's up near the top. It's kind of like almost like a doorway, like in a tunnel. And that was a picture I had taken when I was in Denmark at a castle. And when I took the picture, like in my head, I'm like, this is going to be on a cover. So then when he drew it, I had him incorporate that into it as well. So it just kind of all came together.
That's awesome. And
it looks
crazy,
like, yeah.
Is that kind of crazy? That pillar that goes down the middle above like the dude that's like kind of opened up. That just reminds me so much of Cause of Death album cover from Obituary, like the kind of cavernous pillar of like organs.
Oh yeah, right. Here, let me look at it right now. Yeah, I see it. I got. Oh yeah, right. Right where the pill is above it. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yep, I see what you mean. Yep, I didn't think of that, but now I see it. I'm like, yep, it kind of has that feel, and that's a great classic. So I'm cool with that.
Yeah, it looks like, you know,
exactly.
The that tunnel is like walking you into the pool of failure itself. You know.
There you go. That's nice analysis. I can dig that.
That's definitely really cool. Super intricate. Everything about it's intricate.
Yeah, well, when I got the, you're always a little bit concerned what it's going to turn out like, you know, when you're handing your idea over to somebody else. And when he came back with this one, I was super happy with it because I feel like it's one of his best, and honestly. And I haven't always felt that about when I get stuff back from people, but in this case I did, because I felt like he really captured the oddness of the band mixed with the disgustingness of the band. He put them together quite well, and so I was happy with that.
Yeah, that definitely came out amazing for sure. I mean, music wise too, cool. You know.
So
cool, man. Thank you, appreciate it.
The way you write, do you kind of like write it in layers and then put it together, or do you kind of just write it all at once?
Well, with Drug Honkey is a different beast as far as writing those in the other bands, for the reason that, especially on the earlier albums, I mean, on Cloak of Skies, it was about half and half, but on the older albums, it was all improv, and then I would put layers on top of what we did improv. It was, so a lot of it came out of just literal, wherever we were at that day in our life, and whatever we were, just everything was influencing us, and we would just get in the room, and I would set up recording the whole room, and I would record all of us just playing. And I did this for years, and then I would take them, and then I would sit back and I would listen to all our recordings, and I would pick the songs and the sessions I liked the best, and then I would, on top of those songs, I would create the rest of the song.
That's awesome. I love that. That's like a true psychedelic school, like just the jam session, free flowing. I love that.
Yeah. That's probably
we're
starts out kind of jazzy, big. You know.
You know, you're right. You're right. That's where that comes from, I suppose, because it definitely wasn't planned to be jazz.
Right.
I could see why that. Yep, I could see why that happened. That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm a huge like heavy psych fan, so I really appreciate that aspect of it.
Yeah, I am as
great.
well.
Yeah, that one more thing. Leaning back to we were talking before off the air before we were recording, and when I mentioned about the band, the point when the dissolution of the band before that, when we started Drug Honkey initially, that was the goal. Was we purposely did all improv all the time, and then we were going to just see where it took us, and then that's how it formed.
That's awesome. Love that.
Hell yeah.
Cool approach.
That's definitely sweet. And then
thank you. Glad you guys appreciate it.
Yeah, it's sick. Do you guys have new music coming out, or is it a dead donkey?
No, it's not a dead donkey. We with Drug Honkey, we're definitely slow as far as the music's slow, so I guess it makes sense. But yeah, it's basically me and the guitarist and the bass player have all been friends since we were teenagers. So, and me and the drummer actually started it, but he's no longer with the band. But my the bass player from Morgue Supplier is now the drummer at Drug Honkey. So it's super.
Okay.
Point is that we're slow motion because we just all our old dudes living our lives, and we just end up finally getting together after so many years past to like make it happen again. And then this year. We're starting to record actually next month, so it'll be for sure by the end of the year something will be at least fully recorded.
That's sweet. That's
Exciting.
Good news. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of like a good way to transition to talking about Morgue Supplier.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about like the latest album, Inevitability?
Sure. Morgue Supplier is actually we started first. We started in '97, and then we were called Jugular Appetizer at first, which is kind of reference to vampire stuff. And then we moved on. I'll talk about the new album, but just getting you there real quick. So that was the first band. So that a lot of stuff comes through all those years for that. But Inevitability kind of was a culmination of a lot of it that had happened over all the years, and all the way since back around 2000, and it ended up just being me and a bass player. That there was nobody else. So having like gone through other members and all that stuff, I ended up taking over on guitar for the album. I've always written, but I actually played all the guitar on the album and did the vocals and everything when the bass player played. And all the drums are programmed on Inevitability, which some people didn't even know, but I programmed all the drums on there because we just didn't feel like dealing with getting a drummer at that point because it just wasn't happening. We weren't finding who we wanted, and not easy to find somebody to play drums on, certain stuff, So we just went. I just went forward and just finished it all on my own, pretty much. Thought it came out great. Yeah, and we got a real good response.
Definitely. I feel like Inevitability is like. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it feels like a very different beast to the other albums, and both the fact that the songs are all much more on the long side. So you've got like things going from like 4 to 8 minutes as opposed to like 1 to 3, and then also the aesthetic of the whole album, like just the look from the cover. It feels very different to everything else that the band's kind of done before that.
I would agree, and that makes sense. Partially it may be on purpose, but also just kind of evolution, also just evolving. But I think mainly because I did a lot of the writing instead of just parts of it, because before it was written in different clumps between some of the other members. But this time it was just between 2 of us instead of 4 of us. And so I think it just came out. We definitely wanted to make some longer songs because while I do and have produced many short grind songs over my career and, just different projects, I do enjoy real long stuff too. And I figured, if I can keep the songs interesting, I'm okay with them being long. That's just what's gotta be done, If you're going to do them long, you still got to make them so people can stay with you. And I think that's an important thing.
Yeah.
No, do a good job with that for sure. There's a lot of cool layers, although it's not like you can't compare Drug Honkey and Morgue Supplier. They're definitely so different. But like, there's like there's like a couple elements that like are in there than both of the bands, and it's just like, oh, it's your vocal. It's like, I don't know, like I tried, I can't, I don't know what it is, but it's like almost like you sounds like you're underwater in a way, or like reverby. I don't know what it is, and it's like, it's so cool and unique. And then you're just like, oh man.
Well, thanks. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And that kind of makes sense. I do. Now that you say it, I guess I do kind of sound like I'm recording underwater sometimes or something. I don't know. It's probably, sometimes the way I affect things. And
it works. Definitely works.
My style somehow.
Yeah, it's definitely good.
And then, like, Brendan, I know that you're a massive fan of the label, Transcending Obscurity Records. So I guess we're both wondering, like, how did you kind of come into the partnership with both bands working with Transcending?
So Transcending, back when Drug Honkey, this would have been, I think around 2000, around 2010 is where Kunal first got a hold of me. And it was when, after the release, in 2008, we released an album called Death Dub by Drug Honkey, and around a couple years later, in 2000, and it was self-released, and a couple years later, Kunal came onto the scene or whatever, and at the time it was Diabolical Conquest. It was before it was Transcending Obscurity, and he liked the album a lot, so he did like a distribution deal on it, and from that point on, we kind of worked together. So then when the next album was Ghost in the Fire in 2012 came out, he released that under the Diabolical Conquest moniker. And then shortly after that, that fell apart, the label, or he changed it to Transcending. So that when Transcending happened, then the next album, Drug Honkey put out was in 2017, was Cloak of Skies, which we were talking about before. So we were with him on that. And then around that time, we were talking about maybe adding Morgue Supplier along with it. And then, finally the year time came and Inevitability came, and he put that out as well. So we've had a partnership for, 13 years, I guess now.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. He does a great job with all the bands, with like vinyl and merch and all that, it's amazing.
Yeah. Speaking of vinyl, it's everything's so delayed, nowadays, but, the vinyl is for that album for Inevitability is about to kind of come in probably next month, I think. So finally, vinyl's going to pop up for that.
Nice. If there's anything left, I'll buy one off you.
All right, sweet. Maybe I'll just send you one, man. You just gotta for having me on the show.
Hell yeah. That'd be amazing. Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I bought the vinyl yourself. Titled Morgue Supplier album, and then I got that Cloak of Skies box set from you. That was like, hell yeah, man.
Yeah,
I'm glad
you dig it. Yeah,
I jumped on it.
Cool, man. I appreciate the support. So yeah, I was happy to send you a little something extra there.
Yeah. No, it was sick to see. That was awesome. I was like, hell yeah.
Fuck yes. Where are you guys? So where are you, Brendan? You're from? I saw New Hampshire, correct?
Yeah. So I grew up in New Hampshire, but I'm in Connecticut now.
Okay, gotcha. Because me and my wife are always watching videos about Vermont and New Hampshire because we want to go up there and visit and shit. And then I saw that you were from there, so I had to ask.
Yeah. No, I mean, I grew up there, and then there's like 2009ish. We moved to Connecticut. 2009, and it was great. I all over the place. There's lots of cool stuff to go out there. We can tell you everywhere to go. Really, like there's all kinds of stuff. Depends what you want to do.
Sure. No, that's good. I love this. I love the scenery. It just looks really nice.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's funny. I can't remember who did it, the quote, but when they had moved, this is like back in the Minuteman days, someone had moved from New Hampshire to Vermont, and they had said, they're like, I moved there just to get a better view of New Hampshire. So
Oh, right.
yeah, it's awesome. I mean, they just Mount Washington just had like a record breaking, like a negative like 108 degrees or something like that.
Holy
like
shit.
a couple weeks ago. Yeah, man.
That's pretty fucking cold.
It's fucking wicked cold. Yeah.
Man, fucking. That's a little too cold. I like it chilly, man.
It gets. I mean, the whole state, is just like it does get cold. It gets warm. Like I can remember, like as a kid, having like random snowstorms in April.
Right.
And I don't think it's really happened like that in a while. But like I remember going up and being like, well, it's actually kind of cold today. And then all of a sudden there's like snow. And I was like, I was riding my bike. What the hell? Yesterday.
Right. Sure. Well, I'm from Chicago. I don't know if you've ever been to Chicago, but man, we got all the seasons here too. It's fucking crazy. It can be from 70 to 20 in the same day. You're just like, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah.
But we don't have the scenery quite like you guys do. But anyways.
Yeah.
Just curious. I saw the New Hampshire tag on there. I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah. Nah, man, there's so much to do. I can send you a bunch of ideas later for sure. Cool, man, cool. And then I hear an English accent over there, huh? Is that England? Or?
I'm originally from South Africa, but I grew up between New Zealand and Australia. So it's kind of like a weird mixed accent, but I get English all the time, even from English people. So yeah, it's close.
That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, cool. All the way other side of the world, huh? So are you that way now? Are you over there now?
No, I live in San Diego now. I've been here for a couple of years now.
Oh, okay, great. San Diego, that's like the best weather in the fucking world.
It is. It's what you pay for, unfortunately, but it's fantastic.
True. Great, cool. All right, well, I just was curious, I just forgot to ask about you guys a little bit too.
Yeah.
No, appreciate it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got a new song coming out, I saw.
Yeah, it comes out Friday, yeah. So me and Steve, the bassist for Morgue Supplier, he's been in Morgue Supplier since 2008. So he was on, first album he was on was Constant Negative, the Constant Negative EP in 2009. And then he was on, everything forward from that point on, the self-titled and then Inevitability. So he's been with me for quite some time straight through now. And, he's also in Drug Honkey, like I mentioned, but he plays the drums in Drug Honkey. And he's my main writing partner. So yeah, we do a lot of shit together, and we decided after Inevitability kind of wrapped up and we were getting, some pretty good, reviews and good response to it. Just, lots of best of your lists and all that kind of fun shit, So we're like, you know what? Let's just keep the momentum going. And so we wrote a couple more singles. And this time though, we wanted to, we decided that we wanted to get a real drummer on these couple. We like switching it up here, back and forth. And we were looking around and we were seeing who we wanted to get. And we ended up with Danny Walker, who's played with Phobia and Exhumed. And, did some live stuff with Cephalic Carnage. He even played with Yesu, did some live stuff. He's going out with Hyrax, the old school thrash band. He's going out with them to do a little bit of touring. So we got him to play the drums on a couple songs, and those are both fully recorded and done. So we're gonna release a couple singles there.
That's awesome. Is he gonna help out for the rest of the stuff, or just a couple of tracks?
We're not sure yet. I mean, I think he's up for it, and we're up for it as well. But we'll just see where things go. Like if maybe we'll continue forward with some more songs. We'll see, because after these two songs get put out, the focus is going to switch a little bit to working on the Drug Honkey album, and that's definitely going to take a lot of my time out, because I work full time, besides that. So I have a family, so it's can only fit in so much stuff at once,
Right. It's definitely true. A hectic family life. It's always wild.
Yeah. And I have so many different projects. So it's like, every time I finish one, cycle of something, it's like, okay, I'm going to just chill out for a while now. And then I'm like, oh wait, but I got to start doing this next one. And then I think to myself, well, I don't have to do it, but I just have to, I guess.
I think it kind of happens with a lot of like artists that, they're just like, just got to keep going forward. Like, don't lose the momentum, and just,
Absolutely, it really is. You know, even when I tell myself I'm going to take a break, I find myself, you know, after a short time, just not wanting to take a break. You know, it's what I like to do. So it just keeps happening.
Yeah, that's like the best, like, of both worlds, like job and hobby. You know.
Correct. I wish making psychopathic music like this. I wish I made a ton of money doing that, but unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's, you know, I make some, but I have to have a quote unquote real job as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. What about you guys? You guys jam in any bands or anything, or?
No, I don't.
You guys musicians or no? Okay, I wasn't sure.
We tried, but that's kind of why we run the podcast and the review site, because it's our way to give back without actually being able to create anything. We have no artistic talent.
Yeah.
Sure. No, I mean that's great. I mean, it's everything is all connected. You know, I mean, you guys have me on here right now running this podcast, right? And this is all the circle. So it's great. We need all that shit to be happening for us to all kind of continue forward, right?
Yeah. Well, hopefully people that listen, you know, if they haven't heard or maybe haven't listened to in a while, they'll be like, oh yeah, let me check that out again, you know, or, you know, like, yeah,
correct.
Hopefully that ripples off everywhere, you know.
That's the plan, man. I hope so.
Do you have any other people kind of lined up for guest musicians or anything like that? Or,
man, I mean, I have other projects that are kind of in queue. I guess you could say that.
yeah.
You know, stuff like that. As far as guest musicians, let's see, what else do I got going on? I don't think I have anything guest musician at the moment happening to speak of, at least. But yeah, some other projects that are, you know, like I said, in queue, kind of waiting to happen. But I'm going to wait on either announcing it because I'm not sure of certain things at the moment.
Gotcha.
You know? Yeah. Just so at the moment, yeah, it's to finish. You get these 2 tracks out and then start the Drug Honkey album, which we're going to start off working on because a lot of times we like to do obscure covers, and we're going to do a cover of I don't know if you guys are familiar or listen to much more chill music, but I'm a huge fan of Mazzy Star. I don't know if you know who Mazzy Star is.
Mm-mm. It sounds familiar, but I don't think so.
Yeah, it's got a girl singer named Hope Sandoval, and back in the day, I mean, I'm guessing you guys are younger than me. How old are you guys? In your 20s, 30s?
I'll be 40 this year.
Okay, I was gonna say maybe not 20s, but you'll be 40. Okay, I'll be 50, so I wasn't sure how far back you were. But remember back in the day that song "Fade Into You" was super chill. Maybe not. Anyways, so we're going to do a cover of one of their songs, and that's how we're going to get back into recording for the new album. And I have a couple other ones written already. So that's some of the stuff that's coming up next, recording wise. And then I have an electronic project that I've done for many years called Kill You. It's KLOU, and so I've been in and out of that, doing that, and I'm going to probably start up that after the Drug Honkey.
Hell yeah. That sounds like it'll be good. I'm gonna go check that song out later today. I just see how it's gonna go.
Which one's that?
Oh,
Right.
Fade Into You. Yeah, I'm gonna.
I'll
look it up. Do a deep dive into some.
Yep.
I like chill music and neat stuff like that. Like we like ambient music and whatnot too. So.
Sure. Well, the song I said "Fade Into You" because that was the one that was kind of the radio hit back in the '90s. But if you want it, the one that we're doing a cover of, it's way darker. It's called "Mary of Silence." Check out that one. See if you dig it. Mary of Silence. No. Yeah.
Gotcha. I just wrote it down. I'm gonna do that.
All right. Yeah, might as well turn you on to something because I think it rules. So you should check it out. That'd be a good idea.
Hell yeah. I'm all about it.
So outside of music stuff, what else? What other stuff are you into?
Well, as far as my job, I build and work on elevators.
Okay,
all right. That's what my full-time job is. Elevator constructor, repair, stuff like that, maintenance, all that shit. So I've been doing that for going on 26 years. So yeah, it was basically the same amount of time that since Morgue Supplier started, but 97 is about when the same
Nice.
time I got started, all that shit. Yeah. So that's my job. And then besides that, I'm married to my wife Lydia, and we got a lot of animals. Got dogs, cats, and a giant tortoise that I've had for 21 years. His name is Squirt. He's huge. Yeah, he's my buddy. He's an African sulcata tortoise.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
so yeah, animals, family, work, music, the main things that I spend my time on. Used to party a lot. Used to party a real lot. Not as much anymore. The body can't quite handle it like it used to.
Yeah. I'm starting to
But
notice all that too. I'm like, oh man, those 5-6 beers really are. Woo! I got to eat something.
Right? Yeah. 100%, man. If you start fucking like, I'll have like 2 or 3, and I'm just like, yeah, man, wait, did I eat earlier? Fuck, I really feel this,
Yep.
It's a little bit much, but yeah. So that stuff is slowed down. So yeah, mainly hang out with the friends here and there, but most of the time I spend is working on music and hanging with my family and working my full-time job. That's kind of the shit that happens nowadays, but that's kind of how I like it. I'd rather work on music than fuck around, because too much time was wasted on getting wasted.
Right. Hell yeah.
So yeah, so that's the gist of it. But yeah, if there's any particulars, I'm willing to answer. But yeah, in general, that's like the main gist of my life. Just working music, right?
Nice.
Right.
Yeah. When
How about you guys? What do you guys do for a living?
Do you want to go first, Brendan?
Sure. Yeah, I'm a production manager for a brewery in town, and I live in town of the brewery, I should say. And then basically make sure everybody's got everything they need to do their job for canning, beering, and making all this stuff, blending things, and all that, fruits, all the fun stuff. There's like a little all the branding stickers, like I say, anything you could think of. The brewer, he orders his hops and grains and yeasts on his own and all that stuff, but like I make sure he's got the lids and the cans and all that. And then there's a little cafe there. I'll do all that kind of stuff. I do all the ordering for the cafe. And then I order liquor for the bar. And then I'll beer tend during the day, stuff like that. Like I do almost about everything you can think of.
Okay, so as far as the partying goes, you're right there in the mix of it if you want to be, right?
Yep.
Working with beer firsthand, right, all day long.
It's fun, man. Yeah, and then so I do all the inventory for it, and then I I'm compile all the emails and make all the talk to the distros and make sure they get their orders, build their orders, make sure everything's allocated for them, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's fun, man.
Gotcha.
I'm constantly busy.
Very cool. Yeah, I bet. Sounds like you have a lot on your plate with that.
Yeah, no, it's a lot to keep track of, but it's definitely fun.
Yeah, I know about it. It's a lot to keep track of. Fuck, with building elevators, it's crazy how much shit you got to fucking deal with. It's nuts. So I feel you. And James, what about you?
I work in marketing for a tech firm. So just I'm social media marketing, that side of thing. And then I have a music PR business on the side that I run, working with like smaller labels and bands doing PR for them. And then obviously I help run Cave Dweller. So I'm a podcast host, and then I do a lot of the editing. And I founded the Cave Dweller music during COVID. So I've been running that for a couple of years now. It's been really fun journey. Obviously get to talk to people like you is awesome. Oh, very cool. Well, thank you. And yeah, it sounds interesting. I dig.
Yeah, that's definitely a big hobby for sure. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then hobby wise, outside of that, I have a 55-gallon tropical reef tank that I maintain, which is like a lot of work, but absolutely awesome. Really
awesome. Yeah,
really into like horror movies.
Oh, into horror movies. Yeah, you know what? I remember Brendan mentioned that. Yeah. Mentioned when he was writing these that you guys are horror movie, or you were into horror movies a lot. Very cool. Yeah, my wife loves horror movies. I mean, I do too, but are you like, would you say, are you like a collector? Like, do you get way to delve way into it?
Well, it's like I'm not like a collector with horror stuff, but like I appreciate the vintage stuff right through to the modern like indie stuff. It's just like as an art form, I just really love the way that they express stuff, like this, the themes and concepts covered. And I like the DIY spirit in a lot of horror movies, which is something I've always appreciated. Like it's the same thing I appreciate about a lot of like indie international films, just like that DIY sort of like low budget, let's make it happen anyway type thing. Because I think it translates the same thing from like underground music.
Sure. Yeah. Very cool, man.
Yeah. What about you? Like, what are some of your like favorite horror movies? Like, or just movies in general? Like, what do you what do you enjoy?
You know, I love some of the old horror movies. I'm a big fan of Rosemary's Baby.
Oh yeah, nice. The slow burn.
Yeah, that's an old one. I love that one. You know, some of the normal ones, I guess, like, you know, Omen, Exorcist, stuff like those are great. But I also love some of the B ones, like I don't know if you ever heard of El Curada, or how do you say Dracula backwards, basically. But some of the older ones are really cool, B style movies. And, you know, so I do enjoy horror movies, but honestly, so much of my time is either spent at work or working on music that I don't focus too much on movies anymore, even though I do enjoy them. You know, a lot of times too, what happens is me and my wife will be when we're chilling out, we'll be on the couch watching stuff, and a lot of times I'll start to watch a movie, and my attention span isn't the same as it used to be. You know, I'll either fall asleep or I'll find myself looking at my phone, like partially, you know, part through the movie, and I'm like, God damn it, I missed what the fuck's going on. So it's a little different now, I think, than it was when I was younger, as far as movies go.
No, that's fair enough. I get it. That's me with video games. Like I haven't played video. I barely touch my PlayStation or like play video games anymore. It's just a time thing. I'd rather spend my time with like music related stuff. But yeah, it doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. It's just I prioritize differently.
Exactly.
It's
tough. Exactly. You nailed it there when you said it doesn't mean you don't appreciate it. That's exactly how I feel. I totally appreciate it. I just don't find myself doing it as much as I used to. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like all my kind of stuff that I had like 1.5 million hobbies, you know, I used to like go biking all the time, do this and that. And then it's like, now I have 2 children, and now like they're starting to do like their hobbies and their things, you know, like for a while, like we had, you know, my oldest is like started doing like Taekwondo. He's in Boy Scouts, and I'm his Boy Scout like leader, you know, and then
right.
So then now I'm involved with that, and then I'm bringing him to the Taekwondo stuff, and my wife is doing that on the other days, and then you know, my youngest is doing swim lessons, and then, you know, there's this like it's all these kinds of things going on, you know, and then, you know, it's just it's a lot to juggle. So it's like all this like time that I used to have doing my kind of stuff, now it's like all like, you know, fostering like their hobbies and doing what they need to do and want to do, you know, like making sure that they're busy little kids, so that they're not just sitting in front of a tablet, you know.
Oh yeah, you got to do dad stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great. That's super cool.
But it's a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. You know, like I can't wait. I think this summer is the summer I'm gonna get them both on bikes, and like, you know, like at least like it's gonna be great. Because like last year they were like, I want to just ride the scooter and the trikes and this and that, and I'm like, all right. And then towards the end, my youngest was like, I'll try and ride a bike. I'll try, you know. So like we had him, you know, it was like balance bikes. So he's like doing that kind of stuff, and then so this year he's, you know, just naturally bigger, larger. So hopefully he'll like hop on that for a little bit, and then like we'll get him on a pedaler. And then in turn, my oldest will be like, oh, if he can do it, I can do it, you know?
Right, sure. You're going to follow the leader there, you know?
Right.
No, that's cool. I'm sure that's exciting stuff. You know, I mean, I don't have kids. I've always had animals, but I'm sure watching them grow like that is pretty cool each step of the way, right?
Yeah, it's fun. You know, I mean, it's like, you know, similar, you know, to having like a dog or a cat, you know, that you had like, you know, watching, like there's a bond there, you know, and then you're just like, they go through all these stages. With animals, they go through these stages so much faster. It's like, you know, having a dog for 10, 15 years, and you see them go through every stage of their lives, you know, and you're just like, No, it's
Yeah.
just like it's really neat, you know. It's a lot to watch and see and like cool. It's cool, you know.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I mean, you know, I mean, I know it's not the same, so I'm not going to compare for somebody especially has both. But like for me, my dogs are my kids, you know. So it's
yeah, of course.
I feel that. That's me as well.
Yeah, no, I've got 2 dogs too, you know, and fuck, I love them so goddamn much.
Oh, I mean, it really, I mean, like my dog, you know, he's an old man now. You know, he's 14. He's getting up there, and it's just the thought of that. You know, him being gone is just too much to take. You know, so you get a bond with them that's very strong, no doubt about it.
Right.
Important stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, I meant to ask you guys since you guys did you know, you got the Cave Dweller going and you know, the Violence Against Violence comp. I meant to ask. So what are you guys kind of more grindcore guys than anything else, or are you kind of well-rounded with your extreme music? Or what do you guys like? Is that you are really like?
Well, for me, it's like I'm massively into like OSDM, like that 80s and 90s death metal stuff. That's like my favorite like extreme music by far. And then after that is probably like black metal. Grindcore is like a thing that I always appreciate and enjoy, but it's never like something that I listen to like on a regular rotation as much as like death metal or black metal, personally.
Okay. Sure. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you?
I mean, what about you, Brendan?
I'm like I love like hardcore and like sludge metal. Like I love like all that kind of stuff, and like I'd say like what do I want to call it? Like blackened music, like death metal, all that kind of stuff. Atmospheric metal. A lot of like newer like death metal stuff has been like getting a lot of my attention lately, which is cool. Like bands like 200 Stab Wounds is really great. I would definitely check them out. I think you'd dig them a lot.
Yeah. I've seen the name and I've seen them on some tour bills and stuff. I don't think I actually like sat down and listened to it. So yeah, I'll give them a listen.
Yeah,
that's cool that you guys are, you know, well rounded, because for me I'm guessing you can hear it in my music, but yeah, like I like all different kinds of shit, and you know, for me to stay in one lane, just it doesn't really work. You know, I mean, I get bored.
I agree.
I get bored pretty.
I mean, for me, like I love extreme metal and stuff, but like probably like half my record collection or more is like 70s prog rock and like psychedelic stuff. So it's like I listen to a lot of that stuff too.
Yeah, I love like 70s rock. You know, like ELO and all that kind of stuff. Like I'm a sucker for that. You know.
Yeah,
like,
and then like I love like
guitar riffs and shit. Like
exactly, and then like a lot of the stuff I listen to throughout the week, like I'll balance it out. So I'll do like couple of extreme metal albums, and I'll switch to like a bunch of like world or folk music, like that type of like sort of more meditative, like chill instrumental, like, you know, folk instrument stuff.
Oh yeah,
like I love mixing it up between those two worlds.
Right.
Oh well, then you know what? If that's the case, then I urge you both to check out that Mazzy Star song I mentioned. Seriously, you'll love it. Then
definitely will.
No. From that description there.
Okay, great. But, I have it open on a new tab. I'm going to listen.
Yeah.
Listen to it when you're chilling alone. It's not like a party song, you know. It's like,
okay.
I'm going to check this fucking shit out, chilling on the couch, drinking a beer or whatever it is you do, smoking a joint, just chilling, you know.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I love like just like hanging like late night, like everybody's in bed, like I'm just like hanging out, like I'll just like listen to albums like late night now, like it's like my thing. So
yeah, no, that's great. I always end the night with I have my headphones on, laying in bed, so I feel you.
Yeah, that's funny. I try and listen to a ton of stuff like while I'm making dinner, and then it just gets drowned out by everything else going on around me, and I'm just like, all right, I don't even know why I try anymore.
Yeah, your brain is basically shutting that off, trying to figure out what the fuck you're doing, right?
Yeah. Nah, it's so funny. Like, oh man.
Yeah, I was going to mention to you guys, I don't want to forget about it. It was that you know, since the comp is what it is, I meant to mention a couple bands to check out if you don't know of them for your own listening. Is a couple killer like Grind. The band Nerve Grind and Hate for Humanity are both a band.
Okay.
My friend Jeff he lives in L.A. They're a L.A. band.
Awesome.
Either Nerve Grind or Hate for Humanity. Super killer grindcore. And then another one is Brain Famine, which is like death metal grindcore, and they're from the East Coast. So they're one's by you, James, and one's by Brendan. The other one, they're
that's awesome,
guys. So that one's Brain Famine. Check out both those. All three of those projects. They're super good shit that I think you guys would definitely appreciate.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That was actually a question we were going to ask you. Is like any bands that you recommend?
Yeah.
Well, I'll ask you this then. Was there anything last year that kind of stood out to you, like release-wise, as a couple of favorite albums? Like anything that you really caught your eye?
Yeah, let me. I kind of knew you were going to ask that, or thought maybe somebody would, and I was like, yeah, they might know something that. So let me think. What did I? Oh
Your
yeah, you know
label
what? I
makes
liked
a shit ton of stuff.
Yeah, they do a lot of. They do put out a lot of stuff. One of the I know that. Let's see. One of the ones. Oh, I love the recent Warm Rot album. I don't know if you've ever heard Warm Rot.
Yeah, for sure. The new
yeah.
one was really interesting. It was a very different sound for them.
Yeah, it was super, super all over the place.
Yeah.
From song to song, it was like thrash into like grindcore into, you know what I mean? Just really like, and super abrupt changes style-wise,
Right.
which is interesting because
Yeah.
that's not easy to do. It's not easy to accomplish that in a sound spectrum. You know what I mean? Because style-wise, it's one thing to change many styles in the song, but to change the actual like kind of sound associated with those styles all within a song it doesn't always work. And I think that they pulled that off really well. So that really was impressive to me.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Another band that's one of my favorites. I had some good shit last year was Blue Lost Nord, which is super awesome shit for money.
Yep.
Yeah, they had the Disharmonium release, and then they also had the one on the Bandcamp, which was the Lovecraftian Echoes, which was
I love that. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was so good, right? Yep, great stuff.
Great atmospheric, sort of like it was like super haunting.
Yeah.
Yes, haunting for sure, no doubt. I dug the new Artificial Brain album. I thought that was really good.
Ooh.
I don't know from New York, so that's up your way over there, Brendan.
Yeah.
I need to listen to that one again because like I liked the previous one a lot, and then I listened to that one and I was like, it didn't stick for me. But a friend of mine said like it took like 2 or 3 listens to wrap his head around, and then he really loved it. So I need to come back to that one.
That does happen. As I said, that makes sense for me on plenty of times. Like I'll have some albums, that they catch me right away, and then then sometimes those ones that catch me right away, sometimes I like they don't stay.
Yeah,
so then
exactly.
Sometimes that opposite happens too, where you first couple of times you hear it, you're like, this is garbage or whatever, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, I'm fucking infected. Like you want to go back to something, and then you're like, oh fuck, I love this now. So strange how that happens. Not saying that'll happen with that album necessarily, but I know depending on where you started on it or who knows what mood you're in that day, how it goes. It could be any number of reasons, but I feel like they nailed certain aspects well. Now I listen back to it, the production is kind of hit or miss. I would agree on that. Maybe that was part of the reason. There's I agree. So it was like, but the track with Mike Browning on it, because Mike from Morbid Angel Nocturnus, the original guy, he does guest vocals on one of the tracks, and it's super good. So that definitely that song got me, made me be like, oh yeah, this is really good.
Yeah, what it was for me was like just how it was kind of like chock full, if you know what I mean. There's like not enough space to breathe on the album.
Yes, it was. I agree. I was going to say that. I was going to say it's too dense.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. That's the word I was going for. It's too dense for me. But I need to give it another
100%.
chance.
No, but you are right. So that can be something that is like, okay, it's too much, and I try it again. And just I get it, because it's almost like claustrophobic, and that can be good. That can be good in sections, but if the whole thing is like that, you're correct. And for me, sometimes too, with a band like that, I appreciate the music kind of and where they went with it, but the vocals, they do get on me after all. Like it's all If it's only the super deep vocals all the time, it loses me, you know?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like for me, because I love dissonant death metal, but like for me, I appreciate the bands the most where they kind of break it up. So you have like super dissonant heavy stuff, and then it'll kind of break down into something atmospheric, give you a chance to like recover, breathe a little bit, and then back into the heaviness. Like I like the variation. Like I appreciate that.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's an
I agree.
atmosphere. Some
100%.
musicianship.
Yeah, it's the songwriting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That songwriting and that, I definitely try to go, or I definitely just do that, like as far as, kind of peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard of it. My favorite album last year was Ashen Spire, Hostile Architecture.
Oh, you say Archspire?
Ashen Spire.
Oh, no, I don't think I'm familiar with that one.
They're this like Scottish avant-garde black metal band, and they got like a ton of jazz influences in their music. So there's like a lot of like jazz instrumentals and like structures throughout the songs, but the vocals are like just this angry Scottish dude kind of shouting. But halfway between shouting and black metal vocals, it's just like him ranting about society for like an entire album. It's really like
Right.
it's super aggressive in like a unique way. It's like it's not like traditionally aggressive, but there's just so much like anger and spite behind like the presentation and the lyrics. Like if you like that type of like sort of varied artsy stuff, definitely check it out.
Oh yeah, no, I'll definitely check it out. I don't think I heard that one. So yeah, cool, man. Good recommendation.
Yeah.
How do
Yeah.
Go ahead.
you say Archinspire? How is that spelled?
It's one word, Ashen, like ASHEN, Spire.
Oh, Ashen. Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay,
Sorry, it's the accent. Yeah, Archspire is not my thing. That's like
me neither. So that's why when you said it, I was going to be like, okay, cool, but I'm glad that wasn't your thing.
that like overproduced tech death stuff is not my thing. I'm more into like if it's going to be extreme metal, like death metal stuff, it has to be like dirty and like crunchy and feedback-ish.
Nope. I'm absolutely the same way as far as I can appreciate, some of the musicianship and whatnot, but it's got to have more soul and more, more feeling for me to be in that ball game,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like if I want something clean and crisp, I'll listen to a different genre. Like there's so many other genres that are great in that aspect.
Right. I mean, I like, I like my production at this point. I try to obviously, I try to make it clean, so you can hear everything, but it still has to have the fucking dirt. It has to still have the grit in there. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, because when you have it like that clean, it feels like it has no teeth. Like it's just, it's not right.
Right. For sure. Agreed.
Yeah, and like this is a point that we brought up on the show a couple of times, and I'd be interested to get your take on it. But musicianship, like technical ability, does not mean good songwriting ability, because there's so many dudes out there that are like super technically proficient, but like their music bores the hell out of me. And like people like Yowie Malmsteen is one of them, like Steve Vai. Like I really appreciate their talent. I know they're amazing guitarists, but I can't listen to like a whole album.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I'd say for the most part, I would agree that there's, yes, I definitely agree that being a crazy, great guitarist does not mean that, you might not be able to write at all, there's two different worlds. And it's being impressive on being able to play a solo and, playing a cool riff is one thing, but I'll tell you, when you get in there and you want to write the song, getting those riffs to go together correctly and make that flow correct and all that kind of shit. That's where it comes. That's where it's most important.
I agree, and it's like that's the thing. It's like I think that's what kind of gets lost in translation with some of the tech death stuff, like the modern tech death stuff. It's like how fast can we play and how technical can we make it is the only priority. And it's like the kind of the songwriting and memorability kind of falls by the wayside.
Yeah,
I'd say it falls by the wayside mostly. You know what I mean? I'd say it's pretty rare when you find a super technical band and like you remember like the songs. I mean, it's pretty rare. Yeah,
but that's that's the stuff that like that's why Necrophagus stood out so much, because super tech death like style that's so popular now, but their songs are super memorable and catchy. Like I've listened to both of those Sarcophagus albums. I don't even know how many times I keep coming back to them.
Yeah, because they knew how to, even though they were super technical, they knew how to fucking write, and they knew how to put the hooks in you. You know, that
exactly.
You got to get the hooks in there, and then know how to grab them, and that's just the way it goes. It's, you know, and
right.
they were able to do it.
Yeah, and same with like the first couple of Decapitated albums. Those first like 3 or 4 Decapitated albums were just so damn good in that aspect.
And then they change.
They did. Unfortunately, they did. Yeah, the new stuff is not for me personally, but I love the old stuff. Always will.
Yeah, so, you know, there's plenty of bands like that, unfortunately. But what are you going to do? I guess everybody's doing their thing, right?
Yeah, but then you get some bands that like have that comeback later in their career and they're great again. Like Blue Oyster Cult was like that. I always use that example, but they're like that is a comeback story and a half from Blue Oyster Cult with the last few albums they did.
Oh, how awesome is that when a band can, I don't want to say can do that, but when a band just does that, you know, when it actually happens, it's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, everyone listening to that was like, what the hell? Like, this is like some of the best stuff you've ever done, and you've been going for like 50 years at this point almost. Like,
right.
It's crazy.
Well, you know, and you know what, just to emphasize something on that, it's like, I always got a little bit, and it's not, I don't want to say it about myself because that sounds, you know, I don't want to sound conceited, and I don't mean it even about me, but I'm just saying I feel about bands is that when I hear bands that like were great in the beginning, I'm always confused, like when their albums as they continue aren't good anymore. I don't get that. Like, cause I always feel like I am at least making or trying to make my best album every fucking time. And I just don't understand how so many bands just kind of, it feels like their first album or 2 albums are great, and then all of a sudden they go like for like the next 3 albums, it's like, what happened to you? I don't ever get it. You know, I always wonder why aren't you just you're not. I feel like you're not even focused or something. I don't quite feel that way when I make music. You know.
I feel like there's 2 exceptions to that, and it's kind of like an industry related thing. But I feel like with some of those bigger bands on the big labels, some of it is like label pressure of this, like, you have to give us an album by this date. You know what I mean? And the band's we don't have anything quality, and like just put something out. And then also
in that case you would be correct. Yep.
I feel like with like smaller labels, you don't have that pressure type thing. Like underground music, not as much. But like, you know, like when Sabbath was like peak of their career type thing, you know, on the major labels, they had the obligations of album outputs. Or like the other thing would be substance abuse. If a band's really going through it, it kind of makes sense. Sometimes they make some of the best music of their career, and sometimes it's trash.
And sometimes it's garbage. Correct. Right. Yeah. No, I mean, those are good points. I mean, those are definitely, I guess, circumstances that can create that situation. But I think what I was just, you know, getting at, even though you're correct, what I'm getting at is just as far as like a vision, you know, if you're on your path, it just kind of always was a little bit off to me when so many bands, you know, it's not just a couple, but like so many bands have that giant lull, you know, and I was just like, okay. And then interesting as how, like you said, when some of them come back later on and they're just killing it. I'm like, fuck yeah, there you go. That's what you could have been doing all along.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and sometimes it's interesting, like sometimes what changes it or brings a band back is just like one member leaving, or like one new member joining the band or something like that brings like fresh life into them, and you're like, oh man, this is like a new band.
Right.
For sure. Yeah.
When one person's kind of negative, it rubs off on everybody. You know what I mean? Negativity spreads so much faster than positivity for some reason, you know? And then like, once that change is made, then that's usually the best thing ever.
Yeah. It's actually, it's huge. It's huge. Having been in bands as long as I have, how a negative member or a positive member, the impact is just beyond what you could even say, for sure.
You know, and it's like, damn, that dude could play drums so well, but he's a fucking asshole. Like, I don't want, you know, like
didn't show up to practice 80% of the time. Yeah.
I could care less how good somebody is. If they're a piece of shit or they fucking bring my band down, they're gone. There's no way I'm gonna put up with that shit, you know?
Right.
We're actually coming up, well, actually slightly over time. So just quickly, Brendan, do you have any more questions that you wanted to ask? Any of those, like the end of interview ones you always like to do? Or
Yeah, sure. Got a couple. Since you're from Chicago, do you know Abe Froman?
The sausage thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my uncle.
So do you have like a local venue that's near you that you like to personally like play at, like for live shows and stuff? Or
yeah, there's a few, but the main one that I would say most of my shows have been at is a place called Reggie's. It's a good venue, and a million good shows have been there through the years. So yeah, if you're ever in Chicago, check it out.
Nice, Reggie's, nice. And then do you have a favorite place to like play outside of Chicago?
Oh man, I played a lot in Cleveland, some shows in Cleveland, and I always had a great time there. A place called No Class is really good in Cleveland.
Oh yeah,
a lot of places that have been good. But yeah, I remember having some great times out there.
Nice. And then do you have a favorite place to go to like see live shows as a as a fan?
A lot of times I end up going to the same place I play, which is Reggie's, either there or
Nice.
Cobra Lounge. Another one's called Cobra Lounge in the city of Chicago too. So those are a couple of the spots.
Hell yeah. And then where is the best Chicago hot dog found?
Oh man, yeah, that's up for debate, but yeah, the one that gets the most play usually is it's called Gene and Jude's. Either Gene and Jude's, or my pick is Jimmy's. Jimmy's on Grand Avenue. That's the one.
Nice. Hell yeah.
to wrap it up for you, Brendan?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
I've got two more questions for you then we're just going to have to close it off for time. But first one,
sure.
This is an ambush question. I like to ask everyone this one. If you were stuck on a desert island and you had a solar powered Discman and 3 CDs, what would they be?
Oh man. Well, no doubt my favorite album ever is Godflesh Street Cleaner. So that's for sure.
Okay, nice.
That's with me. Wow, 3 CDs. That's brutal.
I know it's a hard question.
Let's go with Brutal Truth. Brutal Truth's Need to Control. We'll put that one in there for fun. And what else? Oh my God. I'll say Altars of Madness, Morbid Angel.
Okay, awesome selection.
I know those were all heavy side stuff, but that's where my brain's at since for the conversation we're having. So that's where I went with it.
Okay, I'll give you like a bonus there. If you could pick one non-heavy album to throw in as well, just to balance it out, what would that one be?
One? Shit. Fuck, that's tough. Oh man, it's so hard. But let's go. You know what? I'll go with the Mazzy Star. So tonight I might see. That's the Mazzy Star.
Okay.
Let's pick that one.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great answers. And last question is, if people want to follow you or listen to or buy your music, where should they do that?
Pretty much, the social media stuff. Just just search out Morgue Supplier, Drug Honkey, any one of those bands on Facebook or Bandcamp. They're all there. Or even just go to YouTube and put in Morgue Supplier, Drug Honkey, Kill You. And Rabid Beast is another one, which is a thrash project. So any of those bands, just type them in and you'll be able to get routed somewhere to pick something up.
Awesome. And yeah, if you want to check out any of their music, just remember that it is the opening track on the Violence Against Violence charity sampler. Thanks so much for coming on the show and taking the time. It was a great chat, and we appreciate you being on the show.
Hell yeah.
Hey man, thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it. I enjoyed talking with you guys, and maybe we'll do it again sometime.
Yeah,
hell
definitely,
yeah, man.
Definitely. And everyone at home, thank you for listening, and tune in next time.